I had always felt something was off about my sister's fiancé. He seemed too perfect, and it bothered me. I was determined to find out what he was hiding. After my sister's engagement party, I noticed her fiancé constantly texting. At first, I thought it was work, but curiosity got the best of me. His secretive nature piqued my interest, so I decided to do some investigating of my own, starting with checking his online profiles. I uncovered a second profile where he was dating another woman. I couldn't believe my eyes and felt the need to confront him. Gathering evidence was easy once I knew where to look. Screenshots confirmed his lies, and my blood boiled with the urge to expose him. I decided to tell my sister, not in anger but with empathy. She deserved the truth delivered softly without destruction. Her reaction was heart-wrenching. Tears welled up and I held her tight, unsure how to console her as we faced the ruin of trust. My sister decided to confront him herself. Seeing her so strong yet hurting was painful. Her fiancé had no idea what was coming. It was supposed to be a calm confrontation, but his denial turned everything chaotic. I could hear their shouting from outside the door. After the confrontation, he stormed out, leaving my sister heartbroken. I stepped inside to find her devastated and vulnerable. An unexpected twist occurred when my sister revealed she had already suspected but needed confirmation. I admired her strength in such agony. Determined to move on, she started packing his belongings quietly. Each item held memories, yet she was unyielding in her resolve. We spent the day together, recalling childhood memories and offering mutual comfort. It was bittersweet, but we both needed the distraction. My sister leaned on me more than ever, seeking solace in shared laughter. We learned to cherish moments untainted by deceit. As things settled, we decided to take a short trip together. The change in scenery helped refresh our spirits, even just for a while. During the trip, I watched my sister reclaim her happiness slowly, a process of healing and acceptance, a newfound independence in her walk. Our bond strengthened immensely. We shared stories and dreams, regaining trust in the broader sense of relationships and the future. On the last day of our trip, we watched the sunrise together, promising to keep supporting each other no matter the challenges. Returning home, we knew healing would take time, but it started with that sunrise. A new day, a new chance. Back home, my sister began reclaiming her life, focusing on herself and her future. Her resilience was inspiring, even in small gestures. Weeks passed and my sister began dating again, open and hopeful. It was a tender moment to see her get back out there, trusting again. She surprised me one day by inviting me to join her and new friends for dinner. It was warming to see her surrounded by support. However, a surprise twist awaited. Her phone rang. It was her ex, trying to reconnect, filled with apologies. We both froze. My sister hung up, breathing deeply to maintain composure. We shared a look that said more than words could ever convey. Reflecting on everything, she stayed strong. Though tempted to engage, she knew better. A quiet strength as she moved forward. Instead of dwelling, she chose freedom, deleting his number and blocking him for good. Closure felt liberating, and I couldn't have been prouder. Moving forward, we focused on joyful memories. There was sun ahead despite the storm behind, and we embraced the future with open arms. We watched the sunset together, a promise to stay supportive, no matter what happened next. Love and loyalty held us firm. Weeks turned to months, and moving past heartbreak gave way to growth, laughter, and dreams. Her courage persisted and inspired us all. With determination, my sister embraced life anew, taking bold steps with each passing day. The future looked bright and promising again. I opened the mailbox and found a fancy envelope addressed to me. My hands trembled as I pulled out a floral wedding invitation from my cousin Jake. Seeing Jake's name brought back memories of endless family gatherings. But I'd last seen him during a heated argument years ago. What could this invite mean? Inside, I found an invitation asking to join Jake's wedding with Emily. I hadn't even known he was engaged, let alone about the wedding. I called Mom for answers. Turns out Jake tried to call, but I changed my number and didn't update him. She hesitated before suggesting I attend. Agonizing over memories, I remembered we promised to always be there for each other, despite everything. Maybe this invite wasn't just formality. Days passed and indecision gnawed at me. Could I face him again? What if things hadn't changed between us at all? Curiosity won over hesitation. I booked my plane ticket to go back home. Even if things were awkward, it felt right to go. Arriving at the airport, I felt a strange mix of anxiety and excitement. An adventure, perhaps, to restart that bond. On the flight, I wondered how Emily was as a person. Jake never mentioned her in conversations before. I always suspected he dated secretly. Landing, my stomach jumped. The rented car took me through familiar streets. The suburban landscape hadn't changed, but felt like stepping back. There, the sunlit event hall was buzzing with guests. Jake went through the crowd, smiling wide. It was a warmth I hadn't seen in ages. Emily greeted me with a smile that put me at ease immediately. Her kindness made me feel welcome despite the gap between families. In a quiet moment, Jake approached me. "I'm really glad you came," he said. Somehow, there was genuine relief in his tone. Music played softly as we reminisced about childhood pranks and dreams. Laughter surrounded us like nothing had changed. It was familiar, comforting. Suddenly, I spotted an old friend from school among the guests. She waved, triggering. Happy memories of youthful secrets and giggles. With Emily by his side, Jake's happiness seemed contagious. Watching them together, I realized why she'd been his secret for so long. Moderately fading laughter caught me as Emily turned her attention toward me, inviting me to join a dance circle with family and friends. Holding back didn't last. The rhythm built up and I surrendered to it. Dancing among family, old grudges melted away like distant echoes. An unexpected silence fell over the crowd as Jake stood up, mic in hand, calling for everyone's attention. I anticipated something big. Jake's announcement was about gratitude, not just to Emily, but to the family for being there despite past struggles. Such sincerity pulled at my heart. Tears streamed without warning as memories surfaced. Childhood dreams, shared promises. The rebuilding wasn't instant, but felt genuinely close. Touched, I embraced Jake, closing the gap we let form in our lives. We'd found reasons and renewal more than I imagined possible. Later, I stepped outside, needing fresh air. Staring at the sky, I realized I could stop holding on to old regrets and start anew. A quiet peace settled as I decided to go back inside. As the night came alive, I felt this wedding healed more than one bond. Joining the crowd, I saw old stories being shared, laughter echoing through the hall, and a palpable sense of family unity restored. I spent hours talking with everyone, rediscovering lost connections that brought comfort and familiarity. The warmth felt deep and genuine. As the evening wound down, I waved goodbye to Jake and Emily, who sent smiles and promises of making up for lost time. Driving back, nostalgia crept upon me, but it wasn't bitter, rather hopeful. I felt a quiet renewal that was long overdue. I arrived home, mind weaving stories old and new. The invitation felt like a bridge to understand and embrace the present with gratitude. Looking at my old photos, I smiled and realized, despite years lost, we somehow found a way back to each other's lives. I found myself staring at the text, gut twisting in surprise. My partner's phone left open, an unexpected message from a name I didn't recognize. Samantha. His explanation sounded plausible, a coworker sharing a joke. Still, something gnawed at me. His sly smile didn't match the story. Days melted together with an uneasy feeling that I couldn't shake. Every ping of his phone sparked dread. I accidentally discovered their conversations were more frequent, hidden in secrecy when he thought I was asleep. The doubt began to build into a tight knot in my chest. I watched him, analysing every move, every glance at his phone. I decided to confront him, my heart pounding. But his reaction, a practiced innocence that left me feeling foolish. Each time we argued, his words twisted back on me, making me question my sanity and what I believed was true. Tired of the mental gymnastics, I reached out to a mutual friend, hoping they might provide clarity or at least comfort. Our friend's face dropped, and a weight settled on me heavier than before as they confirmed my worst fears. He'd been unfaithful. I needed air, my legs weak as I stumbled out, reeling from the betrayal, a storm of emotions crashing inside me. The quiet of my apartment felt oppressive, every corner a reminder of lies and betrayal that lingered in the air. I found strength one night, gathering his things into a box, feeling a mix of tenderness and anger as I did. As I set the box by the door, I paused, allowing a small piece of my heart to harden, preparing for his eventual return. His reaction to seeing his things packed was incredulous, but I stood my ground, a silent storm brewing within. His pleas were met with my silence. I was done playing the fool. His attempts to mend were futile against my newfound resolve. He left, leaving a stark void. The quiet felt different now, a bittersweet freedom tinged with lonely independence. I allowed myself to cry, truly cry, letting go of each tear that held what once was. Release washed over me gently. In the days that followed, I sought healing in small rituals, tea brewing, long walks with nature as my therapist. Eventually, I spoke with friends who surrounded me with warmth, their support a balm against the raw wounds of betrayal. I started journaling, capturing thoughts and feelings to release them, each page a step towards reclaiming my voice. There were days when shadows loomed large, whispering fears and doubts, but with each sunrise, I felt stronger than before. One afternoon, unexpectedly, someone from work shared a coffee break that felt like more, an effortless joy returning. His laughter was infectious, and for a moment, I glimpsed a future not shrouded in what was lost, but bright with possibilities. Returning home that evening, I noticed that my space no longer felt empty, but rather full of potential and new beginnings. With a renewed sense of self, I rearranged furniture, allowing more light to flood in, creating an atmosphere that mirrored my now brightening spirit. I replaced old photos with new memories on the walls, making room for fresh hopes and dreams in my life. I found solace in music, singing along loudly in my car, enjoying each note vibrating in sync with my newfound freedom. Days passed into weeks, and though not everyone was perfect, each day brought a subtle warmth, as if I finally understood my own strength. Standing by the window, I realised how much I've grown, and relief filled my heart, a gift found amid shards of a love lost. Walking through the familiar streets, sunshine warming my skin, I realised this was my new beginning, a solo journey towards empowerment and self-love. I was cleaning out my closet when I stumbled upon a dusty old box. It was crammed beneath a pile of forgotten sweaters and mismatched shoes. Inside the box, I found a stack of faded photographs and letters tied with a delicate ribbon. Their presence stirred something long buried within me. One photograph showed my mum and dad smiling on a cruise I didn't remember. I felt a wave of forgotten memories crashing over me. I skimmed through the letters, discovering heartfelt messages between mum and dad. Words of love and promise filled each fragile page, intensifying my curiosity. Then, I found an unfamiliar name, Jennifer, mentioned fondly in the letters. My mind reeled as I struggled to piece together an unexpected story. In the letter, Mum referred to Jennifer as her twin sister. I felt an unsettling mix of shock and excitement, realizing I was discovering hidden family secrets. I frantically searched for more clues, almost tossing aside other items in the box. I felt an urgency to uncover the truth about Jennifer's mysterious identity. After hours of searching, I found a torn photo revealing two identical women. Mum's youthful face stared back at me alongside Jennifer's, deepening the mystery. I decided to confront my mum about the hidden sibling. I needed answers, and the tension rising within me was bubbling to the surface. I walked into the kitchen where Mum was quietly drinking tea. Her familiar presence was comforting, but I felt nervous broaching the subject. I cautiously showed her the letter. "Mum, who is Jennifer?" Her face went pale and she set her cup down with trembling hands. Mum took a deep breath and finally spoke. She revealed that Jennifer was her twin, long lost to family disagreements years ago. My heart ached hearing her truth. She looked at me, tears welling in her eyes, and confessed their separation had always haunted her. I felt a profound sadness, yet a tiny sense of relief knowing the truth. I asked, "Can we find her?" Her gaze softened, suggesting a possibility she hadn't dared imagine before. Hope flickered alongside her silent fears. Determined to resolve this family fracture, I offered to begin searching online. It felt like an honourable mission to reunite her with her sister. Facing uncertainty and emotional weight, I spent hours online, exploring social networks and genealogical databases. Each search brought us closer or widened the unknown gap. Finally, amidst countless profiles, I stumbled upon one that seemed right. Mum's hopeful expression mirrored my own as we made plans to reach out. With trembling hands, I composed a heartfelt message, weaving past and present stories into hopeful sentences. It was our bridge to the other side. Mum stood beside me, her presence reassuring as we hit send. I could feel the weight in the air, a mixture of hope and apprehension. Days passed like slow motion, emotional tension high. Then, the email notification appeared, creating a ripple of anticipation through the quiet of our home. Jennifer's reply came, overflowing with emotions and memories long dormant. It felt like unveiling hidden chapters of a forgotten memoir. Mum cried tears of joy as she read Jennifer's words of reconciliation. It was the heartwarming end to years of longing and uncertainty. We began planning a reunion, excited yet anxious. Jennifer's words painted an image of her life that was both familiar and foreign to us. Arriving at Jennifer's house was surreal. Mum looked nervous as we stood on the porch, ready to reclaim lost decades. The door creaked open, revealing the face from the photo, but older and softer. Jennifer's embrace was long awaited, completion of an emotional journey. Seeing Mum and Jennifer together was like witnessing history being rewritten. It carved a deep sense of peace within, a genuine contentment finally achieved. We spent hours in Jennifer's home, sharing stories that connected our histories. I'd never felt my family so whole, so beautifully renewed. Before leaving, Jennifer handed us a photo album, capturing moments across the decades. Mum hugged the album tenderly. It felt like reclaiming lost time. On the drive home, Mum seemed lighter, like years of lost connection had melted away. I felt an immense gratitude for this unexpected healing. I realised that old dusty box in my closet wasn't just clutter. It was a key to a family's heart. The discovery was accidental, but absolutely essential. I never thought I'd find myself sneaking around. My heart raced as I stood behind the wall, peeking into the cafe. I saw him there with someone else unmistakably. He leaned in too close, whispered something that made her laugh. I felt a pang of betrayal. It was like watching a movie I wasn't meant to see. I tried to piece together the fragments. The voices were muffled, but it was the intimacy that spoke volumes. I felt like I was disappearing outside in the rain. I couldn't stand there watching anymore. My feet moved almost on their own, retreating backwards, trying to blend with the scenery of the dull, rain-drenched street. Turning away from the cafe, I felt a mix of rage and heartache swirling inside. It was a storm I couldn't control, and the rain couldn't hide my tears. As I walked home, my mind replayed the scene over and over. Each step felt heavy, burdened with the knowledge of what I'd witnessed and what I had to confront. Back home, the rain followed me inside, lingering in the silence. I sat by the window, watching droplets race down the glass, a mirror to my unresolved heartache. I picked up my phone, hovered over his number. Confrontation made my heart race. I didn't want to be the girl who cried silently at home anymore. Finally, with shaky hands, I dialed his number. Each ring felt like it echoed in the silence, amplifying my doubts and fears. He answered, his voice too familiar, yet now foreign. I asked him where he was, keeping my voice from cracking, holding my breath for his reply. He lied without hesitation, offering a mundane excuse. That moment, I felt the ground shift beneath me, my trust crumbling like a delicate house of cards. I let his words drone on, not interrupting, collecting evidence like broken shards. I felt like I was talking to a stranger, one I had to unmask soon. His voice faded into the background, overtaken by the sound of blood rushing in my ears. I wasn't going to let this pass without facing it head-on. The rain stopped, leaving the air thick and expectant, much like the crossroads I found myself at. I had choices, but not the luxury of naivety anymore. I decided to meet him, demand truth face to face. The soft rumble of thunder seemed to echo my looming confrontation. Arriving at our park bench, I sat with nerves as taut as strings. It was our place, now tainted with suspicion. He appeared on the horizon, his gait casual, yet every step resonated with the weight of our impending reality. Face to face, his eyes looked into mine, trying to read the storm behind my calm facade. The tension was palpable, any word ready to unravel secrets. I asked him bluntly, cutting through pleasantries like a mist. The truth was buried in those moments of silence that followed, deafening in its implications. He hesitated, his carefully constructed facade revealing cracks, as if the universe paused, waiting for a truth it could barely whisper. He confessed, the words spilling out like a torrent, painting truths over a dream I thought was reality. Shock hung heavy, but so did the release. I didn't speak, letting silence swallow the admission, as my former reality crumbled and a new chapter etched into unwritten history. In that closing moment, a fleeting tear traced down my cheek, a silent tribute to what was and a goodbye to who I believed I knew. Leaving the bench, a strange sense of freedom mixed with heartache enveloped me. The rain had gone, but it felt like I had weathered my own storm. Walking away from everything familiar, the park seemed vast, unexplored, holding echoes of promises now broken. But step by step, it also beckoned new hope. Paths were choices, each dividing like veins in a leaf. I felt the universe push me forward towards something undefined but promising. For once, the wind didn't whisper nostalgia but assurance. Each step now seemed to be my own, freeing me from the shadows of unrequited trust. I stepped into a new rhythm, my heartbeat syncing with the future's infinite possibilities. The first moments of moving on whispered like a gentle melody. As I exited the park, a kind stranger passed by, offering a nod, a small glimpse of the world's kindness as my journey had only just begun. The city's hum felt like a heartbeat in sync with mine, fresh opportunities around every corner. Each sound was a note, composing my own song of liberation. I was in my room, staring at the bridesmaid dress I was supposed to wear. The thought of seeing him again was unbearable. I remember walking into the wedding hall, my heart racing. The room was filled with flowers and cheerful chatter, but I felt out of place. He was laughing with some friends, unaware of my presence. His carefree demeanour made my blood boil. I tried to occupy myself with wedding duties, arranging flowers. My hands shook as memories flooded back. I couldn't escape the feeling of betrayal. The guests' laughter echoed in my ears, reminding me of happier times. He finally noticed me, his expression changing from surprise to guilt, but he avoided my gaze. Later, I stepped outside to breathe, the fresh air filled with the scent of spring blossoms calming my nerves. My best friend joined me, offering silent support. Her presence was comforting, bringing back memories of shared laughter. I decided to confront him, my mind made up. I couldn't let the past remain unresolved. As I approached him, he was engaged in a conversation with the bride's family, seemingly oblivious to my intent. Suddenly, everything paused as I walked up to him, the room's chatter fading into background noise. I asked him why he'd lied, my voice steady but filled with emotion. His face showed a mix of confusion and embarrassment. He started to respond, but was interrupted by my best friend, who urged us to talk outside. We moved outside, away from curious eyes. He seemed more open to talk, his demeanour softer in the evening light. He admitted he wasn't honest about his intentions, but claimed he never meant to hurt me. I felt a mix of anger and sadness. I told him I needed closure and honesty, laying bare my feelings. The tension between us felt palpable. He hesitated, but then apologised, regret apparent in his eyes. It was a genuine moment that softened some of my resentment. I accepted his apology, realising holding on to anger wasn't healthy. We stood there, understanding the past was behind us. We returned inside, the atmosphere lighter. I felt a sense of closure, though the lost moments lingered as a bittersweet memory. I saw my best friend, who smiled knowingly. Her support through all this had been unwavering, a true bond of friendship. As the evening grew darker, we joined the dance floor, embracing the present moment despite the past. The music wrapped around us, laughter and smiles abundant. I felt free, like I had unburdened myself from past shadows. Unexpectedly, he asked for a dance. It was a friendly request that didn't feel awkward, a sign of reconciled peace. We danced under softly glowing lights, the music carrying us. Our movements felt comfortable, bridging new beginnings. Reflecting on the evening, I realised forgiveness was a gift I gave myself. The tension had dissolved into newfound peace. I noticed the bride waving joyfully. Her happiness felt contagious, reminding me of love's power to heal wounds. My best friend approached, laughing about an old inside joke. We relived those fun moments, grateful for shared memories. As the night ended, we sat outside, stars whispering above. It was a calm closure to a turbulent day. Despite past hurt, realising love had taken different forms helped me move on, embracing both the pain and the healing. Walking away from the venue, I felt lighter. The experience had changed me, but letting go was the ultimate act of courage. I'd noticed my boyfriend acting weirdly around me lately, like he was holding something back. That uneasy feeling gnawed at me all week. I was scrolling through my phone when I accidentally opened his messages. My heart skipped as I read the flirty text to another woman. My stomach twisted in knots as a thought struck me. This wasn't a one-off thing. His late nights suddenly made sense. Feeling like I was watching everything fall apart, I decided to confront him. I rehearsed the words over in my mind, fuming, yet crushed. When he came home, his guilty shift in demeanour confirmed my fears. His eyes dodged mine like it held all of his secrets. I confronted him, voice shaking. The room felt like it was pulsing with the unresolved tension between us. He admitted the truth, and as words fell from his mouth, my once cozy living room turned into a battleground of betrayal. I couldn't breathe. It was as though the air swallowed any remnants of my once stable world. I needed to escape, but couldn't move. Unable to withstand the silence any longer, I rushed out, not knowing where to go, just desperate for any escape from the chaos inside. The rain poured down relentlessly as I walked, feeling every drop like a reminder of my heartbreak. My mind raced with turmoil. I wandered into a nearby park, sitting drenched on a bench. An unexpected calmness washed over me, fighting against my inner storm. A passerby offered me an umbrella. Their kindness pierced through my bitterness momentarily, hinting at a semblance of hope. As I returned home, I realized I couldn't ignore the betrayal, but I needed to face it, let it become a chapter, not the whole book. Inside, the remnants of our argument echoed off the walls. I was determined not to let the coupling unravel my entire life. Instead of hiding, I began writing, letting my emotions spill onto paper. Each word felt like regaining a piece of myself. Despite the pain, I called a friend to talk it out, needing the support to help patch the heartache back together. Talking helped me recognize my strength, providing the first sense of foundation after being swept up in the storm. Days went by, and though the heaviness lingered, I began creating new routines, slowly filling in the empty spaces he left behind. I noticed simple joys again, like the morning sun, a comforting promise that healing was possible. Gradually, I picked up the pieces. I didn't erase the past, but I allowed its lessons to guide my future. Then an email popped up, an apology from him. It was a surprise, unraveling the quiet I had built around myself. His words seemed genuine, but the memory of betrayal burned too deeply. I couldn't easily let him back in, but maybe forgiveness was possible. I hesitated, then found words to reply. Maybe I needed closure more than adrenaline-fueled rage. I allowed myself this moment of peace, a deep sigh escaping as I pressed send, hopeful it was a step toward healing. After sending, I sat back realizing that finding my own balance was a path worth treading, despite everything. I stepped outside. The brisk air felt like a cleansing restart, offering clarity I'd been craving. Taking a walk down the street, I marveled at the normalcy I'd overlooked, grateful for resilience slowly emerging within me. New days came, slipping into the routine of work, but I embraced each one as a gift. Life moved forward. In moments of solitude, creativity became my ally. Each brush stroke whispered life, freedom, and a fragment of my story. Months passed, my heart mended, forging ahead with scars that told tales but no longer held me back. I was sitting in the cafe enjoying my coffee when I noticed my boyfriend, a man in his early 30s, handsome with an intense stare, approaching another table. I squinted across the room and saw him sitting with a woman, mid-20s, strikingly beautiful with a confident aura, chatting animatedly and laughing. My curiosity turned into confusion as I tried to make sense of their body language, wondering what connected them so intimately. I texted him, but he didn't look at his phone. My heart started racing as doubt crept in. Finally, he took out a necklace and put it around her neck with a soft, affectionate smile. My chest felt tight as realization hit me like a freight train. He was cheating. The affectionate gesture shattered my world. I abruptly stood up, feeling my pulse pounding in my skull, unsure of whether to confront him or to run away. I turned away and rushed out into the pouring rain, each drop mixing with the tears streaming down my face. Back at my apartment, I collapsed onto the couch, clutching a pillow, feeling hollow and heartbroken. I went over texts we'd exchanged, hoping to see a missed sign, something I overlooked that could have warned me. There was nothing. The perfect illusion he'd crafted made me feel stupid and gullible. The betrayal was well hidden. I called my best friend, a woman in her late 20s, lively eyes, curly red hair. She listened as I poured out my pain. Her soothing words calmed the storm in my heart, allowing brief relief, but the ache remained persistent. Through the night, sleep evaded me, as each recollection replayed the bitter truth that now tainted everything. Morning light spilled in, framing a new day that I had to face. It felt impossible, but I knew I couldn't hide forever. I got dressed, choosing an outfit that spoke strength. A fitted black blazer and jeans, ready to reclaim my power. I went to his place, my heart pounding with a mix of fear and fiery purpose, needing closure or confrontation. He opened the door, a man in his early 30s with surprised eyes, subtly guilty posture, waiting for whatever I'd say. My voice shook as I confronted him, demanding honesty and the truth that had been hidden beneath layers of lies. He tried denying initially, his panic clear, but my unwavering stare forced out his flustered confession. The truth slipped out. They'd been seeing each other for months. Each word was like a dagger to my heart. I struggled to breathe, clutching my chest as betrayal blazed like an unforgiving wildfire tearing through trust. Everything felt surreal. The man I loved couldn't meet my gaze, as if our shared past meant nothing to him. I turned away from him, stepping back into the corridor, feeling the weight of my choice, yet strangely calm. I decided to leave him behind, realizing self-worth is stronger than any deceptive illusion I had fallen for. Stepping outside, the sunlight felt different, warming my skin like a gentle reminder of hope and resilience. I called my friend again, sharing the empowering decision I just made. Her excitement and support lifted my spirit. Walking through the park, each step felt lighter, the path symbolizing a new journey ahead. For the first time in a while, I felt at peace with myself, embracing solitude as a friend rather than a foe. I was ready to heal, to let go and open my heart for new beginnings beyond the heartbreak. I found myself waiting for him at home, a surprise dinner all set, but an unexpected text shattered the calm. He wouldn't make it, yet again. As I wandered around the house, I picked up a photo of us. I felt the pain, but also an urgency to pluck the thorn of this loss. I felt a bitter wind of betrayal sweep through me, thinking of all the lies he'd told. I needed air, everything felt suffocating. Out on the sidewalk, I tried to clear my mind. The streetlights revealed my searching eyes, hoping to find some comfort in the familiar darkness. I saw neighbours in their usual nightly routine, unaware of the turmoil inside me. Their laughter felt like a distant world I couldn't touch. I wandered towards the park where he first asked me out, flooded by memories. The bench was empty, unlike my heart, filled with longing and hurt. Sitting there, I realized the night felt colder without him. Yet, paradoxically, I was engulfed by the heat of anger and sadness at his betrayal. I lost track of time, caught between nostalgia and resentment, each one a tide pulling me further from who I thought we were. Suddenly, a figure broke the dark solitude. A jogger passed by, pulling me back to reality as I realized the lateness of the hour. I returned home, a haze of mixed emotions swirling around me. The messy dining table was a reminder of everything that had just changed. With a heavy heart, I began cleaning up, feeling the weight of every unspoken word. It was almost like letting go of the night itself. A sudden knock at the door startled me. I froze, wondering if it was him. I couldn't prepare for another confrontation, a delivery. Relief washed over me, but was replaced by loneliness. An apology card, he remembered, but it only deepened the gap between us. I sat at the kitchen table, card in hand, wondering what I wanted. Love felt like a distant memory, and its promise a cruel joke. I felt the weight of emotional exhaustion dragging me down. I knew it was time to rest and find a moment of peace. The whispers of sleep finally reached me, cradling my weary mind. Tomorrow seemed like another world, uncertain, yet promising a sliver of hope. Morning light filtered through the curtains, a hesitant reminder. As I awoke, the realization of yesterday tugged at me again. I brewed my coffee and tried to make peace with the morning. The aroma was comforting, if only a temporary escape from heartache. A renewed sense of resolution began to surface in my chest. I seemed ready to confront what lay ahead, however daunting it seemed. I turned my focus to an old diary, a trusted friend holding pieces of bravery from when my heart was truer. A balm in this storm. A sudden decision gripped me, to see him face to face. The thought sparked fear, but also a necessary fire to reclaim some power. His voice on the call was tentative. We arranged a meeting. As I hung up, a fresh wave of emotions hit me, daunting but freeing. I walked to the cafe. Every step felt like measured courage. I could sense the sun trying to break through the clouds. Inside the cafe, I saw him. My heart paced, but I tried to remain composed as I approached the table where he sat waiting. Sitting across from him, a realization struck. Saying goodbye might be more painful than confronting betrayal, but it was necessary. We talked, and although words felt insufficient, I could sense their power to slowly mend and redefine what was left between us. He apologized. The sincerity was bittersweet. Despite the honesty, it couldn't erase the pain, but offered a bare thread of closure. As I left, I felt lighter, yet still bearing marks of grief. The desire to heal was discreetly hanging in the atmosphere. I returned to the park, the scene now unfamiliar yet calming. I breathed deeply, embracing quiet moments that marked a new beginning. A tranquil resolve washed over me. The path ahead seemed kinder, allowing a chance to rebuild my heart's song. I found myself alone in the dark kitchen, my heart pounding as I stared at the mess from last night's argument. The silence felt heavy and suffocating. As I cleaned the countertop, I noticed his forgotten mug, still stained with coffee. Memories flooded back, bittersweet and tangled, whispering of love once shared. I was stirring a pot, trying to focus, when an unexpected knock on the door made me jump. My heart raced with both dread and hope. Opening the door, I saw a neighbour, an elderly man with kind eyes, offering freshly baked cookies. His gentle smile felt strangely comforting. We ended up chatting in the living room, his stories a balm against the hurt I was nursing, a fragrant nod to unrelated tales of life. After he left, I remained in the living room contemplating the quiet. It hit me how different silence felt when infused with a hint of kindness. A soft rain began to patter against the windows, adding a peaceful rhythm to my thoughts as I leaned into the gentle solitude. I found myself penning a letter, letting words flow like the rain. It was both confession and closure, a step toward healing and forgiving. The phone rang, pulling me from my writing. Seeing his name on the caller ID made my hands tremble, but I answered with a trembling hope. He sounded different, humble. Apologetic words spilled from him, admitting his faults and asking if we could meet to talk things through. Meeting at the park, the air felt different, softer. He stood there with remorseful eyes, the weight of his mistake showing in his posture. As we walked, he recounted his journey, his eyes full of regret and resolution. I felt a slow thaw of my distrust and anger. Standing by the fountain, he hesitated, as if lost in his thoughts. I saw a vulnerability that softened me, allowing unexpected sympathy. I broke the silence, offering forgiveness. His eyes shimmered with gratitude, a moment so pure that my heart skipped a beat. Walking away, I felt lighter. The park looked beautiful in the afternoon sun, and closure felt tangible, like a warm hug from the universe. Back home, I sipped warm tea, reflecting on the unexpected gift of forgiveness I'd offered and the healing it had brought me. Watching the sunset, I felt at peace, a rare kind of peace only forgiveness can bring. The horizon seemed full of new possibilities. Friends came over later that evening. Their laughter filled the room, a stark contrast to the silence that had weighed heavily days before. My heart swelled with gratitude, not just for the company, but for a future where forgiveness might lead me somewhere unexpectedly beautiful. Late at night, I lay in bed, scrubbing away yesterday's scars, promising myself a new dawn of acceptance and kindness. Dreams that night were vivid with colours, weaving tales of fresh starts. I woke up feeling reborn, the daylight crisp and welcoming. I ventured to a new cafe, ready to embrace the day. The air felt rich with opportunities, a stark contrast to the heaviness of past grievances. Over coffee, I scribbled plans for the future in my journal, each word a promise of growth, reminding me how far I'd come. I glanced around the cafe, suddenly aware of the beauty in ordinary moments, a quiet thrill at embracing life's little details. A stranger smiled warmly at me, offering a small connection. It reminded me of how unexpected kindness can sow seeds of healing. In that moment, I decided to pay it forward, buying a coffee for someone else. Watching their surprised, happy face made my day. Leaving the cafe, the street felt vibrant and alive, inviting me to move forward, leaving yesterday's burdens gently behind. Back home, I opened my windows wide, letting fresh air and sunlight kiss the rooms, welcoming a new era of positivity. I sat down with a book, the kind that wraps around your heart like a comforting hug, realizing how healing begins from within. Closing the book, I felt a quiet strength brewing inside, ready to embrace life's next chapters with courage and grace,